The markets are wrapping up a lukewarm start to the month at best. We see a lot of just treading water out there. We're going to discuss that. We're going to look at the earnings that'll be dropping in about half an hour. Before we get going, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel. Nothing Kevin or I say is financial advice. We are not financial advisors, so please do your own research before making any buys or sells. Kev, last night we saw a little bit of a trade sell-off in crypto. It has rebounded some of those losses so far. We are seeing the Dow barely up, NASDAQ and S&P down a little bit. Not markets are kind of struggling for direction as we kick off a new month. We will get a little bit more clarity with some earnings here in about 28 minutes. We're going to see Starbucks earnings. We're going to get AMD earnings. We had Uber earlier. I'll discuss those here in a bit. We also got some jobs data. What is catching your eye as we close out another day in the markets?
Yeah, I think the main thing for me has been the dollar. Absolutely insane. It's ran up to, I think, 102.4 earlier today. It's pulled back a little bit, but insane to see the dollar, pushing up. Went through a major level of resistance. Hopefully, we close above that level today. We'll look at it later. Taking a look at just crypto too. Crypto's been, some pretty good moves. Once we got the monthly close last night, we just saw a nice little dip down. We saw some red. Some things weren't necessarily as red as other things. We'll jump into that as well. Some things seemed a little bit more, maybe a little bit more manipulated. We'll also look at some of those charts, and I think you all know who I'm talking about. But we're seeing some movement in the charts. The market really is trying to find itself for crypto at least, and for TradFi. I think some of these earnings and some of the revenue, I think, has even been down for a couple of big companies today too, Pfizer especially. So I'm really excited to see what these numbers hold in about 30 minutes. I'm just excited for just a good day of data.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of data, we had the JOLTS report come in. So this is job openings in the U.S. Expectation was 9.6 million jobs open. That would be down a little bit from last month. It was 9.62. Number came in at 9.58. So slightly below expectation. Still a shit ton of jobs out there. A number that I was just looking at was construction spending. That's actually down more than 50% month over month, and it came in under expectation. So it could be an indicator. Less construction going on, less jobs are going to be available from that standpoint. So we could see some more openings there. Tomorrow, we get the private sector employment number. This is the one that surprised to the upside in a big way last month, more than double. Oh, yeah. So some interesting jobs data there, all ahead of Friday's big reports. Real quick one, Randy, appreciate you being here. Chris, Ace, love seeing all you guys here shooting the shit with us. So let's talk real quick about some of the earnings we've seen. Uber was one that I was looking at before the show started. Their numbers came in this morning. They missed on revenue. They were under expectation by $100 million, but up 14% year over year. Earnings came in better than expected. They're expecting earnings of minus 1 cent per share. They got 18 cents up per share. So that's a positive. Monthly active users was up to 137 million, a 12% increase. And trips completed were up to 2.3 billion. That's an increase of 22% year over year. And they also raised Q3 guidance for revenue and earnings and all these other things. They're seeing some really good traction as far as just, driving people, driving goods, but they're kind of missing on a few other areas. Stock was down 5% earlier. I think there could be some potential there, if they continue to see those numbers come in. But what's going to throw a wrench in a lot of things, Kevin, is student debt. Oh, yeah. We're starting to see some more talk about that. I believe beginning today is when student debt is going to begin accruing interest again. Jesus Christ, I got that sentence out. Okay. July 31st was kind of the end of that period of not accruing interest on your student debt. Payments don't kick in for another month or two. But we've already seen some surveys coming out saying that about a third of people accruing student debt don't think they can pay it. That's not good. That is really not good. And so Uber, and we're going to get Starbucks here in a little bit. Some of these other companies that depend on discretionary spending, I think are going to get hit when we start to see a lot of the student debt payments come in. People can't afford them. They got to figure out, because they have to pay them in some way. They're going to have to figure out where that money is going to come from. And some of these, these little teeny tiny luxuries may have to go by the wayside, like stopping for that cup of coffee at Starbucks, like paying for an Uber. like having meals out. All of these little things are going to add up. And there's a lot of people, 30 plus million people with student debt. That adds up to a lot of discretionary spending.
Oh, 100%. I think that's a great point to bring up. This debt, that student loan debt, is not a debt that you can easily get rid of, right? You can't file for bankruptcy and it's away. No, you got to pay that shit. They make sure that you go to the grave paying that, and a lot of these people are going to have to reallocate some of their budget towards obviously paying this debt off, because that's going to be their main priority. And things like, taking an Uber home instead of taking the subway or something like that is going to have to start being a reality for a lot of people. So it's going to be really interesting how this plays into, Q4 even. Obviously we're going to get the Q3 earnings coming up. I think Q4 is going to be more important for a lot of how the impact is going to be hitting. We say it all the time. There is a credit event coming, right? There's just too much debt out there. The United States has a ton of debt. Consumers have a lot of debt. A lot of other countries are indebted to other countries. It's just we're stacking dominoes on top of, I don't know, more dominoes that look like shit. It's a terrible, terrible fucking analogy. But point is, it's not a great.
I need you to start working on your analogies here, man, especially on the fly. Like we gotta pick those up. I
didn't want to say toothpicks and bullshit, because I always say that one. That's my favorite
go-to
one.
Listen, that's at this point, that is your catchphrase. So you might as well just keep rolling with it. Like, why fight it? Okay, just lean into that one.
Toothpicks and bullshit.
Those, that shit's gonna hit hard at some point in the not too distant future. So we have that going on. We have AMD earnings coming out in a little bit. If you invest in a lot of these semiconductor companies, these chip companies, that's one to keep an eye on. Expectations are not great there. They're expecting revenue to come in 19% under for year over year and 46% under for earnings per share. Not great, but that's the expectation. So if they beat it, obviously the stock price is going to go up,
right?
Even if it's still down year over year. It's all about, the only thing that matters is it above or below expectations? Nothing else fucking matters. There is, you look at forward guidance, things like that. It's important. And then on the Starbucks front, they're expecting revenue of $9.29 billion, which would be up over $1 billion from last year. One of the things that they're really focusing on with Starbucks is going international, especially in Asia, and some updates around that. New store openings. They have a big campaign with a K-pop band over in Korea that could potentially drive some more revenue too. So, kind of seeing what's happening there. I know we have some listeners who participate in the Starbucks Odyssey program, which is they're kind of like venture into NFTs and Web3 and how they're rolling out their new loyalty beta test. That's interesting too. It won't affect the bottom line now, but down the future, what could that bring? So that's what we're gonna be looking at here in the next 20 minutes or so. Like I said at the top, we have some interesting stuff going on with crypto. We had a ruling from a judge came out that kind of shook the crypto landscape a little bit. Looking at the result of it and what they were discussing, it didn't phase, like I didn't feel like it was as big of a deal as a lot of people were making it out to be. This was something around Terraforma Labs, which like that's not, let's take a second and step back here and look at what the actual ruling said versus like what people are freaking out about. I don't think it's that big of a deal when it comes to Coinbase and when it comes to crypto, because it's not like the judge was like, nope, crypto's not legal, we got to get rid of it. It was not even related to that. So I think everyone just needs to like pump the brakes a little bit.
Was this the ruling out of New York?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know what it was called. I saw the headlines and stuff like that on Twitter, but yeah. I don't know, man. I think a lot of people are going to be afraid just because of all the, obviously, the SEC going after everyone. We saw that New York also was one of the reasons why KuCoin had to pretty much do KYC, because they ruled it as illegal to be operating in that state. And also there's a couple of other states too. So I think there's a lot of FOMO, not FOMO, but a lot of FUD fear out there right now. People are still scared. Here's the thing. Crypto, for the most part, if we're looking at this on the macro view, as in like the next 6 months, doesn't look great, right? So any news that's going to come out really isn't going to affect the price or the trajectory of where it's going to go. It's going to go where it's going to go because there's a lot more problems outside of what a judge is saying, right? We're seeing a lot of that go on. The one thing let's pull up Binance, because this pissed me off, and this is more of what I expect there to be more ruling on, as opposed to saying that all coins are securities, or what is a security. I mean, I think that's just like speculation at this point. There will be a point where we have to get some regulatory clarity, but I don't think that point is anytime soon. I think it's gonna be a lot more going closer towards the start of the bull market. So what I have here is Binance. This is the daily chart. I just want to pull up the minute chart though, and we're going to go back about 16 hours. There we are. There it is. There's the bullshit. Look at this. There it is. That is a $4.40 increase on the 1 minute chart. That was $639 million that came in on the 1 minute chart. If we also were paying attention to what Binance has been doing, it's been launching these launch pools. Right, that's redundant, but it's been creating these launch pools where you could earn tokens by staking BNB, True USD, and now they got a new one called FTUSD. For First Digital, I believe it's a company based out of Hong Kong. So they got these stable coins, right? And we're seeing True USD being moved over to Binance wallets. It's like, come on, guys, are we really just buying this? The only reason that Binance is up is because they're creating these launch pools. They have this liquidity from these stable coins that they're able to print at their will. I don't have any evidence to prove that they're doing this, but at the same time, we can also see that everything's on chain, so we're able to see when things are moved from wallet to wallet. This is 100% the only reason that Binance is able to stay up. We saw everything dump yesterday and Binance shot up. What does that tell you? It tells you that they're trying to hold the range low, right? So let's zoom out because this 1 minute chart is absolutely chaotic, and we're starting to see, this is at 246.6 cents right now. It was at 237, I believe, last night. So let's go to the daily and take a look at the pattern that we're putting in. So we're all the way down here now, right? We broke out of this massive bear flag and we're below it, and we're in this asymmetrical, not even asymmetrical. This is a symmetrical triangle. We're trying to find where this is going to break, right? And obviously we're extremely overbought in the daily. If we go to smaller time frames, it's all overbought. We got the 50 moving average coming down here. It's probably going to come in line with the top of this triangle. Probably going to get rejected off of it. That's at 249.5 right now. I think it'll be closer to 248 where we start to see some of that rejection. We could get a little bit of a wick up above it, but I do think we should be correcting fairly shortly. Again, that liquidity came in real fast. There is not really a whole ton of volume if you look at the smaller time frames to back up that. A lot of money is coming into the space naturally, organically. People are buying this stuff, right? I would believe this more if we saw that, $4.40 move maybe over the course of like 10 to 15 hours or something like that, maybe a day or so. But we saw it on the 1 minute chart. It just tells me that was one whale that just pretty much dumped everything into it. It's fucking, come on, you're getting sloppy, CZ. But yeah, this is ridiculous. I think that we've tested these lows down here on this trend line extremely well. We tested these up here. We can't break above it. We did, and we got rejected right back. This was XRP, just so we know that this is an anomaly. XRP and all that shit, calm down. I think we're going to test this upper trend line, and then we're going to, possibly break below this. I won't say that we are going to break below because obviously I didn't expect us to shoot up 4%. What is that? Almost 2.5% today. It's not really that much, but still, it just pisses me off when you see all that money coming at one time. But obviously, we have our major resistance at 267. Keep an eye on that just to be safe. I'm not going to say it's going down and just not anticipate that there could be a squeeze. But I do think that this symmetrical triangle here, it has a lot of resistance above, and maybe it comes down here and they buy it up again. I think they're just going to try and hold that line as long as they possibly can. They're going to keep having these launch pools. They have 34 of them, I believe, right now. It's either 34 or 36 tokens that they have this for. So people are just pretty much making these small ass tokens. They're just earning rewards on them, and just using BNB to stake, and obviously that's keeping liquidity. But you're trapping liquidity with crappy coins in a bear market, and it's not necessarily a great thing to be doing, right?
Speaking of crappy coins, can we talk about Bald for a second here?
It wasn't. What's funny about Bald?
Let's move on from one shithead, crypto exchange founder to another shithead. I don't know if we're even gonna find it on there. I think if you go on Dex Tools or something like that to find Bald.
I don't know what that is.
I looked for it under crypto on TradingView, and what came up was Bald Eagle Pepe. So that just goes to show you how many absolutely stupid tokens have been created. You've never used Dex Tools?
No, but Bald Eagle Pepe is actually a pretty. They got a great white paper, so don't shit on them. But
Dex Tools is where, if you're looking to get into the shitcoin game, which I really think you shouldn't.
Oh, that's why I'm not on there.
There you go. Exactly. I'm trying to find which one, because I look up Bald and there's so many different pairs on here. Which
pairs
one
of balls or pairs of bald?
Bald.
Okay, there you go.
There we go.
Just need to clarify.
Let's see here. Is this it? I can pull up the chart. Yeah, here we
I'm
go.
still
The one
mad that
that
it's called
flatlined.
bald. Like that just pissed me off.
The one that
I saw
flatlined. Here we go.
bald.
So
Let's just buy bald in a bear
for
market. Great idea.
well, it's named after Brian. I think it's named after Brian Armstrong,
That's a meme coin.
my twin brother right there. My bald brother. But if you this is a lot of fun. Here we go. This is bald, and this is the chart for it. And we don't if we're going back to the world of wild speculation here, the speculation is, some blockchain sleuths kind of put on their Sherlock Holmes hat and tracked some transactions. The belief is that disgraced FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried, whatever, that douchebag,
He's gonna fry.
launched this in his parents' basement, got a bunch of money into it, and then just pulled the rug out from under everybody. So this is the speculation going on right now. This should not be taken as fact. Please do not send this to Gary Gensler, because I know he and SBF are buddies. They're compadres. So that's what the speculation is from people who are much smarter than I am. It's just such a ridiculous idea, and it wouldn't, based on where we are right now with crypto, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Like, we've seen so much bullshit from SBF and Caroline and FTX. Still haven't seen the sex tape. Where the fuck's that at? But it's absolutely crazy. I've been waiting with bated breath.
Dude, I sent so much tether to an anonymous address and still nothing. I'm still waiting for the 10-letter what happened tweet. But I don't know. I digress.
So that is the ongoing speculation right now around Bald. It was founded by SBF. Stupid name.
I know, but it pisses me off
name.
Because motherfuckers we're in a bear market. I'm sorry if you put money into this. I really am sorry, but it's like, can we just not play dangerous games? Like, just like, why are we buying something called Bald?
Because guess what,
it's
man?
Not Bald Eagle Pepe. It's Bald.
There's like 3 different types of people who are left in crypto. There are the ones who are building on it, the ones who are holding it for the long term, and the ones who are fucking gambling addicts. That's it. Okay. And the gambling addicts are like, yeah, I'll throw money into a coin called Bald on the very beginning of coin. So, and then this was on the
layer 2,
Coinbase's base, layer 2. Yeah. So it's like on Optimism, all the shit. And people are like, yeah, we'll throw money on there. We'll just see what happens. And like, just day one, SBF. I mean, it just is so perfect when we have the crypto movie of, the 2021 to 2023 cycle. And it's going to be, the end of it is just SBF. It's going to be like at the end of Dark Knight Rises, where it's just like SBF sitting, drinking tea. He looks over, he sees CZ, they nod at each other, and then just walk their separate ways. Because that's where we're at in this fucking market, and it's goddamn ridiculous.
Except they're at a cafe in hell.
And Gary Gensler is the one who's serving them their tea. That's how that's gonna play out. Okay, that's the end of me talking about bald balls, whatever it is. All right, let's look at some of the crypto charts before we get earnings here in about 10 minutes. It's just, we are just crab walking, man, and it is so damn boring. Like, just looking at these charts is just, it feels like we're going to be in like another year. We see BTC dominance is back on the rise, approaching 50 again. Let's do it. Dollar having a strong day. Let's fucking roll. But let's go DXY.
DXY right here. Obviously, guys, like, we can't refute this. I was talking about it yesterday. The monthly close was so important because it shows that there's a huge level of support down here. We whipped right off of it, shot up, and look where we are today. We were above that level of 102.035. We actually went there last night after the close. This is a pretty good candle. Obviously we were at 102.43. That was a lot higher. I think we are going to get a bit of a correction coming soon, but the good thing is we're closing above this, which tells me that we are breaking this as resistance, and breaking this as resistance tells me that we'll be able to break it once again. Like I said, I do think that we're going to have to come down a little bit Whether that's, sooner or later depends on how the dollar is going to react to whatever the news is tomorrow and going into Friday as well. So just keep an eye on that. I think that the dollar, though, for the most part, if we look at the weekly, we get a weekly close above this 102.035. Our next target's likely to be this 103 level, which shows where our 50 moving average is going to be. So we're going to probably find some resistance on there. But we could honestly just break right through this and find the resistance there, come down here, consolidate, and then make another push up above this, break the resistance levels that we have here, and 105 is on the way. I do think that I've seen a lot of people talking about a short squeeze for, the dollar, just because there's so many people that are shorting it. I think that it's very possible. I also think it's just natural for the dollar to go up because it's been so oversold for so long that, this could be a good setup for USD, or not USD, but DXY in general, right? I think that there is going to be opportunities where this is going to be pushing up. And once we push up to a pretty good level and, the monthly remains oversold, doesn't mean that you can't push up more, right? So I do think that there's a lot of things on the horizon that are going to definitely help the dollar out. And we talked about today, student loan debt. I think that's going to help the dollar out pretty significantly because a lot of people are probably going to sell some equities or sell some crypto or whatever they have to do to make some payments. And, that's just naturally going to happen if you're short on cash, but you have some assets on hand too. And that's not even a major thing. That's just a minor thing that could definitely push the dollar up. And I think that's what we are probably going to be seeing, and a lot of other things that are just going to be adding to it. I do want to share one thing real quick, going back to the yen carry trade that we talked about yesterday. I saw this. I was doing some more research, and I was wondering if Japan was, if they were responsible for drilling their own oil. They are a major importer of oil. So yeah, that was really interesting to see. And if we get a look at this here, this purple line, I'm going to actually do full screen for this one. There we go. Have the purple part where it says having no notable domestic production. Japan is heavily dependent on crude oil imports, with between 80 to 90% coming from the Middle East region. That's huge. That's absolutely really huge for us because we've been talking about how oil going up is going to affect markets, and everything is so intertwined. Because if oil goes up, obviously the CPI inflation number is going to go up for Japan, which in turn would have to raise rates. The Bank of Japan would have to raise rates, and that screws the yen carry trade because now the yen's going up in value. So they would have to borrow at a higher interest rate, and then obviously people would have to sell off their equities in other nations and stuff like that in order to not lose as much because the currency value is changing so much. And again, it's trillions of dollars that we're talking about. We're talking about equities in bonds in the United States. We're talking about this in Mexico. We're talking about in the UK. There's tons of exposure with the yen carry trade. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Energy being this high is very scary for this. This is something I'm going to be following very closely over the next few months, and we'll keep you posted on that. But just something I just wanted to share because that's a really interesting note that I found right after we talked about on the show. But back to crypto, because crypto is absolutely got some life in it right now, hopefully. Not as boring as it was 2 days ago. Let's pull Bitcoin. Right? We got Bitcoin right here. You were out of the supply zone earlier this week, right? Now you're back in it. We wicked right down here and you pumped right back into it. But at the end of the day, we can still see on the weekly we are in this like stochastic move to the downside. Are we going to get to the downside? To be honest, I really don't know. We have to look at smaller time frames, I think, to see how the markets are reacting. This is the thing that tells me that we're probably going to push up. I think that the daily being so oversold for so long is probably going to be maybe a bit of a short squeeze. We'd have to check CoinGlass to see how the funding rates are doing. But, I mean, we're still in this supply range. I don't think that it's dead just yet, even though I'm not necessarily saying it's going to go to 34, 35K. I think that might be a wishing one hand, shit in the other, see which one fills up first. I don't think it's necessarily going to be one that's going to happen most linearly. I think, if anything, it's going to be a scam wick. But seeing this here, this is pretty much telling me that, okay, there is a corrective pattern, a very complex corrective pattern going here on the daily. I'm looking at the stochastic RSI. It's down in the shitter. I mean, look at this. This is, where are we here? Oh, it just turned it off. We are at 10 and 14 on the stochastic RSI meter. We're oversold as. It's going to have to come up at some point. I just don't know if that's going to be before we take a bit of a further dump to the downside, because again, there's a lot of room right here. There's a huge fair value gap from 28.9 all the way down to roughly 26.8, where, that's the market just pushed up so extremely fast. There's a fair value gap there. All gaps need to be filled. So that's what I'm seeing with Bitcoin. I think that if we look at the smaller time frames too, we can see that everything looks like it's ready for a move to the upside. We got pretty good move in the past few hours, right? For Bitcoin. Like if I pull this up, we can see very similar. We got looks like a double bottom kind of right there, right? And then it pushed up, finding some resistance right there in the 1 hourly 200 EMA. We're gonna have to just monitor. I think things are very hectic right now. Watch this on the macro. I think the daily is gonna be the chart we're gonna want to have to keep an eye on, even though it's kind of messy. I think that's. I'm just gonna say that it's likely to go up before it goes down, but I don't know if it's going to be a long sustainable push to the upside. It might just be a corrective pattern going up, and then we might just continue down. Crypto really looks like crap right now, and we can see that dominance is rising, even if Bitcoin's price isn't going up. That's not necessarily a good sign as well, because that just shows that a lot of people are probably moving some stuff over into stables or into Bitcoin just as a safe hedge. We can obviously see that XRP dominances came down significantly since it was at 1.4.02. It's at 3.23. We even got yesterday about a 3.16. So it's definitely moved significantly recently. We saw that USDT actually had a pretty good shoot to the upside yesterday. It was at 7.51. We're at 7.35. So they've deployed some more Tether to different aspects of the market. And then one I'm keeping an eye on still is BNB dominance. This is one that I wasn't really watching until I realized last night. I'm like, this actually has a pretty good threshold over some alts. BNB being 3.33 is the same as XRP being at 3.33 the past few weeks. This just tells me that there's a lot of dominance that is pulling from Bitcoin, pulling from Tether, pulling from Ethereum. And if we start to see this thing crash, like that's probably 3% that could be split between Bitcoin and Tether easily, right? And that would easily put us at like that 57% range if we're at that, especially if we see the dominance of BNB go down. It's likely that the entire exchange is seeing some hardship, and that means that there's going to be a lot of money exiting that. It's going to be trying to find somewhere to go. Tether and Bitcoin are likely to be our culprits of where it would end up. So crypto definitely wild right now. We can see that XRP is still under 70 cents. Matic's at 68 cents. I think Matic still is in this position to push down. We're still broken out of this. Might see a little bit of a push up on the daily, very weak, maybe to 73 cents. That's where the 50 moving average is on the daily. But for the most part, I think that if we're looking at this on the weekly, even though we shot up a pretty good amount, I think that it is very possible for us just to go back into the oversold. That could put us at the origin level around 51 cents for Matic. But that's what I'm seeing with a lot of these alts. I talked about Solana the other day. This is actually putting in a pretty easy structure to look at. That's both the 4 hourly. Right, we're seeing our 5-wave move to the downside, 3-wave correction. Then we're going to see another 5 waves down, 3-wave correction, another 5 waves down, 5-3, 5-3, 5. That's the pattern I'm seeing with Solana. This one's actually telling when I look at Solana on the daily, this is like pretty much the bear market. This is telling me what the rest of the bear market's planning to do for this coin. And it doesn't necessarily mean that everything's going to follow suit at the same time with it, but it's giving me a direction that I think this is going to be the end of the bear market move for Solana. I think we're going to bottom out in this structure. Obviously, right now we're at $23. My targets are a lot lower than that, so it's going to take time. But I think that this one's on its way, which means that other alts should be on their way. And if we look at two charts, the last two charts we're looking for crypto, total one, which includes Bitcoin and Ethereum. This was our parallel channel, and within the parallel channel we had the head and shoulders pattern. I mean, guys, this is playing out to a T. This is perfect, right? We got our left shoulder came down, we got our head higher than our left shoulder came down, then we got our right shoulder that comes to the midline of this parallel channel, and now look, it's already coming down. And this is on the daily. Looks like there might be a little bit of room to the upside, but if we look at this on the weekly, I mean, this is where we're going to have to break from. It'd have to break from $1.06 trillion. And it looks like we're making our it's starting to turn to the downside on the stochastic RSI. Could push up a little bit more, but if we're looking at this on the weekly, I think that there is still good room to the downside from there if it breaks. And if this breaks from here, we're going to be under $1 trillion market cap for all of crypto, which would be huge, right? We haven't seen that in a while since Bitcoin shot up significantly. So that's what I'm seeing with total. And if we look at obviously total 3 alts, this is the weekly stochastic RSI. Where we are, we're out of the channel right now. It shot up a little bit. It was at $340 billion yesterday. We regained about $8 billion today. Or it's just fluctuating in general, just back and forth. we're going to start seeing a lot of this just come right down. And I think this will be under 300 billion as well. Once this breaks, that 50 and 200 are so close to each other. I mean, we talk about this all the time, but things do not look good for altcoins. Things do not look good for, the total crypto market cap. We got Bitcoin dominance looking like it's going to reclaim 50% of the total market cap. Once we reclaim 50, 52 is the next target. Once we get 52, 57 is the next target after that. And I think that seems, something that we have to keep an eye on, like maybe in the not too distant future. But I think when it does happen, it's going to happen fast. And next thing you know, I mean, we're going to be at 57%. Alts are going to be bleeding out. And, a lot of these coins that people are extremely bullish on, I don't know, man. Maybe half their market cap's cut in half. We'll have to wait and see. But that's all I'm seeing with crypto. There's a lot of stuff that I had to go over there that happened in the past, 24 hours since we did the last show. JWeb, are we getting any earnings yet?
We are not. I am refreshing the page for investor relations on AMD and Starbucks, and I'm getting nothing. I'm looking at the charts as well. Not really any movement in the after hours for either of them. So, we can keep vamping for a little bit longer, see if any earnings come in, see if we have movement in the after hours. I am looking at CoinGlass as well. It looks like open interest weighted funding rate for BTC is negative 0.011%, and for ETH, negative 0.0123%. So that is kind of what we're seeing. At least that's how I'm reading it. I'm looking at the page as well, but could be a little move up here for Bitcoin in the not so distant future. I don't know if we'll get to the 35K. I mean, listen, I was told that it was going to 40K because 40K was a magnet. And last I checked, 29.2K is not 40K. So what the fuck's going on around here?
Yeah, I remember I said you're going to need a strong fucking magnet for that one. I don't even think the big boys want to even put their money in just to push it up and liquidate people at this point. I think they're just like, man, I don't know. This yen carry trade looks pretty bad. I need some Pepto-Bismol. This market looks like it's going to dump, and I'm scared. My stomach hurts.
I don't know. It feels like the big boys are kind of like playing a game of chicken. Like, okay, who's gonna put money in to push it up? But then as soon as they do, we saw it at 31K, right? We saw Bitcoin just incapable of closing even like really any time frame above 31K. Like maybe on the minute chart, maybe on the 15-minute chart, but not on the 4-hourly, and certainly not on the daily. Like it could never stay above that.
Yeah, I'm looking at Bitcoin's longs versus shorts. Obviously, there's more shorts than longs in the 24-hour span, but it's pretty dead even, man. It's like 14.7 billion to 14.3 billion, short. I think a lot more people are short because they realize that the upside potential is capped. Obviously, that 31K was, a huge hindrance to a lot of people's belief that we're going to 40K. And again, I'm turning, I think, on my idea each day with how the price action's been from 35K. I thought that we were going to maybe liquidate a ton of people, get that gap filled. Might have to fill that in the bull market. It is what it is, right? I'm not gonna fucking play chicken with all these whales. I wouldn't even want to face the whale in real life. But this is absolutely, I think, pretty dead even, and no one really wants to make a move, or a true move in the market. And I think we're seeing that a lot of people who are holding this shit is just retail, and we need to see retail be squeezed. And when I mean squeezed, I don't mean push the price up and have them buy more. I mean, I think that's what a lot of people would like to do. I think they don't think that they have enough cash on hand to buy some more. I think we could see them squeeze, as in, hey, let's put a little bit of pressure on these fuckers. Let's have them pay their student loans. Let's I don't know, man. Let's tank their boner pill stocks. I'm just looking at Pfizer right now. I think it was the revenue.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about like Blue Chew or something, because that's the only fucking ads I see on Twitter anymore. All I see on Twitter anymore with these ads is Blue Chew and these Cheech and Chong edibles. I'm like, am I going to be walking around high as shit with a boner for the rest of my life if I'm just shopping on Twitter? Like, what the fuck's going on?
You ruined my joke, JWeb. I was going to say Blue Chew is the reason why Pfizer is fucked right now. But that was a pretty good joke, too. I can imagine you walking around high as shit with a boner. Thank you for that. But yeah, it's I think it was 54% fall in revenue for the second quarter. Pfizer is reported. So insert sad boner noise right there. Sorry, Pfizer. This is sad day for you guys, I guess. But yeah, I think there is going to be a push on consumers and people who are holding a lot of these assets. I mean, fuck, if bald isn't any indication that this market is illiquid and that there's tons of scams out there and we're just being stupid with our money. Imagine when we have an actual credit event and then we have no fucking money and we're still playing around. So yeah, it's insane. I think that we're going to see thanks, Chris. I agree that JWeb's definitely got some good clips in there for us. But yeah, I think that we're seeing this evenly matched because no one really knows what's going to happen. I honestly, we all know where it's going, but it's just like where is it going to go in the short term? I think we have a month ahead of us where it's going to be really annoying because everyone knows what's going to happen September, October. At least that's how I feel, right? Not necessarily sure everyone else wants it to be that way. I think everything's just adding up that way. But August is probably going to be a little bit of a, I don't know, man. It's not going to be as exciting. Maybe towards the end of the month we might get a little bit more excitement. I think September is when the markets move. October is when the markets really move. If 1987 or 2008 have been any indication of that, even 1929. So keep an eye out for that, guys. That's all I got on that end. I'm vamping way too much. I'm waiting for all these earnings.
All good. I don't know when they're going to come in. I
Give
got a
me
feeling
AMD.
we're not going to get AMD. I think is not going to be for another 8 minutes, and I do have to jump in a little bit, but I can stay around for AMD earnings, so we can just look through that real quick.
Yeah.
I agree. So much good stuff. Also, shout out to our guy, Mr. House. He is he's joining us to help us grow this channel, so appreciate him. Hopefully, with some good clippable moments there. So appreciate all the support and everything. But we're looking at AMD now. It's up a little bit in the after hours in anticipation of it.
That's what we need to look at.
The last quarterly earnings weren't released until 4:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm assuming we're going to get the same thing now. So we'll keep an eye on that. We can just kind of shoot this shit for the next 7 minutes until those earnings come out.
This is the stock that I've been reading up on superconductors, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be huge, right? I think we all have seen it on Twitter. We've seen videos where people are talking about this paper from Harvard where it's talking about a room temperature superconductor. I'm pissed because the fucking market shot up instantly pre-market once we found out that article was true and that they actually did create a room temperature superconductor. Those are just pretty much magnets that are they're huge magnets that allow rails, tons of energy projects that are going to be able to be more sustainable, more efficient. But the problem is obviously that a lot of these call BS on that.
Ace calling it. Okay.
Yeah. So it's what he called it. So obviously they're huge and to the point where it's like you need tons of cooling. Oh, gotcha. I thought I saw an article saying that it was at room temperature. Maybe just people are FOMOing into it then. Obviously, I was like, this seems pretty interesting. Obviously, I'm not going to buy anything in a bear market. So I was like, I'll keep an eye on this for when everything hits the floor. But I definitely would be going probably long in the near future on something like this. Again, this would be my boys knows everything about this.
It's been funny. I follow some other YouTube, financial YouTube channels, trying to learn some stuff, see what they're doing, see what I like. And all of them have done full deep dive episodes into these room temperature superconductor things.
Really?
And most of them, I don't think that we're going to do one of those episodes because I wouldn't have anything to contribute to that show. It would just be like Kevin doing, 72 hours of research and me sitting there, maybe having a Blue Chew and one of those Cheech and Chong edibles. I don't know, because I wouldn't be participating in this discussion at all because that shit is way over my head. But it's been the hottest buzzword, and VCs are done with AI and they are on to this instead. They're just cycling through whatever the hottest thing is in the market.
Well, here's the thing. I think it'll be huge in the future. I don't think right now is the best time to be buying this shit. Again, I think that there's a lot of things that you could be buying ahead of, global escalation into a credit event /war, such as obviously energy. And we've been talking about energy since March. So pat on our backs for that once again. But look at this fucking gap. I mean, this is from one day to the next. I believe it was up, 60%? I mean, come on. If you put in fucking $4, you would have a lot more money than $4. But it's just insane to be seeing this, how much it shot up. Again, FOMO is a son of a bitch. You can't be it's so hard for people to just not buy in, it seems like, and that's a terrible place. And that just shows you how late we are in this market, and it's towards the top because, again, look how much it shot up. And I don't know, man. I think that this thing's going to retrace a huge amount. So I said, I'm bullish on this stuff long term. I'm not bullish on it today, and I'm not bullish on it until we start to see, the entire market realize that it's out over its skis. And this is just one of those things very similar to AI, where it's like, okay, sure it'll be big in the next bull run. That bull run does not start today. Oh, dude, you know what we didn't talk about? I think isn't the Litecoin halving tomorrow?
Let me do a quick little Google.
Yeah, Google that shit.
I think you're right.
I saw it somewhere yesterday. It just absolutely, went right over my head. Probably because I had too many blue chews.
The Litecoin halving will take place in 18 hours and 53 minutes.
And what's the price doing? Diddly squat. Fucking bounced right off the 200 EMA on the daily today. So it went down to 87.76, and currently it's at 93.31. It's overbought on the daily. Let's check the weekly. It's lackluster on the weekly. It looks like it's coming down. And the monthly, extremely overbought. All right, this is oh my gosh, I didn't even see this for Litecoin on the monthly. Give me my parallel channel, JWeb. Give me my parallel channel.
Watch out.
Watch out. I'm pulling it. I'm whipping it
Don't
out.
stop him now. He's having a good time. He's having a ball. And that was a Queen reference right there in the middle of the show. God damn. Still over here refreshing AMD. Starbucks waiting for these fucking earnings. The price is going to be super boring and nothing's going to happen. But, we committed to it, so we're going to fucking go with it.
I had an even worse joke. I said I was whipping it out, and I'm not talking about my blue chew. There we go. Fucking blue chew. I hate that they have that shit. It just pisses me off. It's like, what the hell? I'm not getting tagged by XRP Ripple bullshit. I'm getting blue chews shoved down my throat. It's like, I don't need that. Yeah. So here it is on the monthly. It's parallel channel. You're in it. You're close to the bottom of this actually. And if this breaks, I don't know, Litecoin, maybe a triple bottom on the monthly. We're going for $22. 22 to 25, it's possible. Keep an eye on that, but I do think that what we're gonna see, what's important about this Litecoin halving is that the Bitcoin halving is gonna mean nothing. Once you're in a bear market, this shit doesn't mean anything. I'm sorry. I think a lot of people are telling you that we're going to the moon. Fuck the moon. You heard it here first. Fuck the moon. We're not going there. All right. We got a lot of bear market to go to. You have a better chance of going to the Titanic right now than you have to go into the moon.
Let's not send anyone down to the Titanic.
No, we're not. But
it worked out last time. RIP.
But if we're in a place right now where you're going to see, I'm not following Kevin on Twitter anymore. He's going to influence my advertising algorithm. I don't want.
Dude, so my parents, whom I love dearly, keep asking for the YouTube channel so that they can subscribe. And in a moment like this is exactly why I haven't signed them up to subscribe to our channels, because I don't want my mom watching me talking about taking edibles and blue chew at the same time. That would just be a really weird conversation that I do not want to have.
But it's at some point, it's like, I mean, we're not giving out financial advice. We really aren't. We're just got two guys that are shooting the shit about blue chew in the market half the time. And, maybe there's something to get out of that. It's whether it's, subscription to Blue Chew, or we should really be sponsored. Let's not talk about them anymore. All right. They should be paying us money.
Good point.
Yeah, fuck them. Go back to Pfizer. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So this monthly, chart for Litecoin looks like shit. And if we're talking about, the Litecoin halving being tomorrow, and we're very bullish on the Bitcoin halving being here in, not too far, 2024, I think we need to, readjust where our expectations are, reassess everything and realize that we're in a place where we're going to be like, okay, is this bear market going to override what history has done for the Bitcoin halving in the past? I think yes. That's just my opinion, though. I think that this is the first time that Bitcoin's ever been in a bear market. I think it's the first time, not bear market, but like a recession, even a triple dip recession, if I may. And we need to see how this absolutely plays out. So I'm not necessarily expecting too much to happen for Litecoin here. I think that you might see a bit of a buy the rumor, sell the news. And if we look at that monthly chart, that looks like shit to me, just because I know that those tend to break to the downside. That's no different than Matic. That's no different than BNB. It's no different than Bitcoin and a lot of other charts that are putting in that parallel channel. So on the monthly, that looks like the macro is telling me further down. Could it push up a little bit more? Sure, absolutely. We got to look at the smaller time frames, but I think that's come December, come January of next year, I think that this chart's going to look very different. It's going to look very similar to a lot of other charts where we are going to be seeing probably my ruler. probably some depreciation, something similar to this. I'm not saying 56%, but somewhere in that range where it's like, okay, we're starting to see the breakdown, stochastic RSI, because nothing moves in straight lines except for bald, and that's straight down. So if there's hope, there it is.
So AMD earnings are in.
Okay.
The market is responding favorably, up almost 5% in the aftermarkets. They beat on revenue by a little bit, looks like by about 60 or so million. So, down 18% year over year, still flat quarter over quarter. So they are doing well there. I'm just looking for like any other information. This must be fucking riveting right now. But that's AMD. Nothing, that gives me hope for NVIDIA earnings later this month. That maybe, we're seeing that people are less concerned about computer sales. So I'm hoping that helps on my chip stocks, which would be really cool. And then let me look at Starbucks. Chris there said that, here we go, here's Starbucks. Earnings at a glance. Let's do that. I just want to glance at it. Chris did say that they've discussed the Odyssey program in each of their last few quarterly earnings, he believes. So that is pretty cool.
Just for the record, though, fuck Pfizer and Blue Chew. Fuck all these companies. We are not sponsored by them, so we don't care about them. No financial advice there.
Yeah, if anyone wants to sponsor the show, you can do that.
Absolutely.
We are wide open to it.
But, yeah. We're just not going to shill coins or any of that bullshit. We fucking hate that. There needs to be a French revolution of influencers. Gary Gensler, if you're going to do anything good with your life, do that.
So it looks like Starbucks beat on revenue.
Okay, let me pull up Starbucks chart real
Actually,
quick.
no, did they? No, it's actually they're down a little bit on revenue, which is why they're down in the after hours. They came in looks like about 90 million below expectations. Although it was a record-setting quarter as far as revenue goes, it came below expectations. This is what we've been talking about. Expectations are so high for a lot of these companies. Going into earnings, if they've been revised down, that's one thing. But if there's been no revision to earnings, it seems like everyone is missing because they've just been like these analysts are just setting them so high. So there is that. I'm looking at some of the, they've added quite a few stores internationally. That's going to be good there.
It's crazy to think it's Head and Shoulders. I don't know. We'll see how this develops. But on the monthly, that's what I'm saying. S-Bucks. Great ticker name.
It's a great ticker name.
Spucks.
Yeah, I mean, revenue is up 11% year over year. Operating income up 10%. And they're actually down. Their operating margin, though, is down year over year by 0.3% or 30 basis points, if you will. Let's see.
Are they around in 2008?
Yeah.
Yes, they were.
To me, this is not a super bullish one, and it kind of goes along with this thesis that people are starting to cut back in the face of increasing prices, right? Like we see, if I want to get a fucking venti latte at Starbucks, it's like $6.50. Like that's crazy. I'm not going to do that. And so, expect like their production costs are higher. They're opening more stores, so they're having to they increased the number of stores over the last year by like 600 or so. So it's a lot of money going into that, trying to break into some new markets. So I would say I'm not you have this Head and Shoulders pattern.
You don't want to know what that green line is?
Is that zero as the COVID lows? The 2008 lows?
So what I did with 2008 is I checked how much it was to drop from top to bottom, and it was like 80%. And I was just like, let's see what 80% looks like for Starbucks from where it currently is.
God.
Yeah, $20. So but one stock is going to be equal to one large coffee or venti or grande. I don't know. I don't fucking
at that
shop
point.
at Starbucks. But if we're talking about a global recession, makes sense though, right, guys? That's what I'm thinking. But obviously people aren't going to be buying Spucks. But maybe that's a good opportunity.
I don't think we're going to get to that point, but point made, Kevin.
Do you want to do another bet? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not fucking making any more bets.
Yes, I will bet you this number can go to $20. I will gladly make that bet with you.
Are we doing a parlay for Matic 2? It's got to hit those two.
we gotta add that onto it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not going to bet this because I think that's this is insane. I don't think that even if we are in a global recession, I don't think it's going to be the same. Obviously, this is a bigger company now. There's a lot more money in it. I don't think people are going to pull out as much as they did back in 2008, right? And it was, I don't know how much was in 2008, fucking $20 a share, and it went down to about $3.60. I think it'll be a little bit different. Obviously, we have a lot more support here over the past 15 years that we've also been building this. So there's that. But definitely keep an eye on this, just because that seems like that's been historic support here and resistance here. So maybe there's something to it, but maybe one of these levels at 35 or even, I don't know, like 47 might be where we end up. If it is a true head and shoulders pattern, I do think that we would break below $50. So 53, I think we would lose that. But again, we'll keep an eye on that. Starbucks, looking at you, keep an eye on you over the next 2 months.
All right, I think we're going to wrap it up for the day. AMD still doing well in the after hours. I see NVIDIA is up a little bit on the news that AMD came in over expectations. So I'd love to see that. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We had a ton. We had maybe our most live concurrent viewers, so I appreciate that.
Appreciate you all, guys.
Not, it's like a pittance compared to a lot of channels, but to us, it means a lot. I really do enjoy doing the show so much and having you all here. So Chris, Mr. House, Ace, Randall, all you guys who watched, or Randy, not Randall, another guy, Randall. Sorry, Randy. Appreciate you all for being here. Anyone who's not yet, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, share us out on social, all of that good stuff. I'm going to go eat a Blue Chew and some Cheech and Chong gummies. You guys have an awesome day. We'll see you at our regular time tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern. Love you, and we're out.
Have one for me. Take care, guys.